there are a lot of Republicans who say that what this core group, a minority group in your party, is doing is destroying your party. Peter King is one of them, but he is certainly not alone.
Yeah. I think it's unfair, actually, because I think the one thing, actually, that we're very unified on, and you've seen, not everybody agreed on the tactics of how the fight went along. I think I can admit that. Everybody admits that. However, on Obamacare, we're absolutely united. The Republican Senate caucus is absolutely united. We shouldn't fund it. It's bad for America. And America's going to really find this out over the next year or two. It's a disaster for us. I think we're united in the House. But we're also willing to compromise, and that's what the American people need to know. We've been giving and giving and giving, and the president's saying, my way or the highway, and I don't think that's what the American people want.
What if it is such a disaster, though? Don't you gain the most by letting it happen and letting it be a disaster? Because now, if it's even 1% of success, it might look like a success. I mean, I'm just, Jack Welch said today Republicans have made a bonehead play, which was a, sort of slang way of saying it. He said you're not going to defund his signature legislation, and the polling shows that the American people seem to agree with that. They say avoid the government shutdown is more important than dealing with Obamacare. They say raising the debt ceiling is more important than delaying Obamacare.
I'm not so sure it's as clear-cut as you make it out to be. I think people, particularly the people who elected me, wanted me to stand up and fight on Obamacare. They think it's bad. They think it's going to reduce our choices. I think it takes away your freedom of choice. You're going to have, like in my state, you're going to have 4 choices where you once had 50 choices. You're going to have 1 insurance company where you once had 37 insurance companies. So it does take away choice. And my people, they voted for me. 61% of my state voted for Romney. They want me to stand up and fight, but they also don't want the government shut down. So I have been one that says fight, and when we lose, then we have to negotiate. We lost on defunding. I fought for defunding, but we lost. The president wants 100%, though, and should he not need to negotiate to get somewhere in the middle in order to get a compromise?
Now, Senator, one final question to you. You just heard Harry Reid when he was asked by the reporters there. From that meeting, do you feel that the debt ceiling will be broached? And of course, the debt ceiling breached, that is the big thing. That is much bigger than this government shutdown, at least as pertains to the United States economy. And he seemed to indicate that from that meeting, yes, he thinks that it will be. But Lloyd Blankfein, CEO of Goldman Sachs, also met with the president today, and he said, "We are the most important economy in the world. We're the reserve currency of the world. Payments have to go out to people. If money doesn't flow in, money doesn't flow out." Are you willing to let the debt ceiling to not extend it?
I'm for taking default completely off the table and promising to the American people and to the markets, to Wall Street, that we will always pay the interest on the debt as a priority. You know how we do that? We bring in $250 billion in tax revenue every month. The debt payment's about $30 billion. We just promise we'll always pay it. What's going on is, interestingly, the Democrats are scaring people, saying we might not pay it because Republicans don't want to raise the debt ceiling. If you don't raise the debt ceiling, what that means is you'd have a balanced budget. It doesn't mean you wouldn't pay your bills. We should pay the interest, and we should never scare the markets. So if I were in charge, I would say absolutely we will never default. And I would pass a law saying that the first revenue, every month, the first revenue has to go to pay the interest.
Right, but it's still defaulting if you're late on Social Security payments or anything like that. And that's still the full faith and credit.
Why would you be late on your Social Security payments? We have a bill that's called the Full Faith and Credit Bill, and we've passed it in the House before. We've introduced it in the Senate, and it says you pay Social Security, you pay Medicare, you pay your soldiers' salaries, and you pay the interest on the debt. We've got money for all of that.